Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Ashwarya with you. All the big stories are coming up ahead. Let us start with the headlines. On Home Ministry's recommendation, President Ramnath Kovind rejects Nirbhaya convict Mukesh's mercy plea. Supreme Court had dismissed curative pleas filed by him and another convict earlier. All S-400 missiles to be delivered to India by 2025, confirms visiting Russian Deputy Chief of Mission. Calls Kashmir a strictly bilateral matter between India and Pakistan. MHA meet on to discuss modalities for census NPR. Union Minister Nityanand Rai chairs meeting. Seventh Conference of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association India region in Lucknow to conclude today. Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi delivers the keynote address. Mentions about parliamentary privileges. And GSAT-30 communication satellite launched successfully. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu congratulates ISRO for the satellite, which will provide high-quality television, telecommunications and broadcasting services. The top story that we are tracking this hour, according to sources, the president has rejected the mercy petition of one of the convicts in the Nirbhaya gang rape case. Now, this after the Home Ministry forwarded the mercy petition to President Ramnath Kovind, recommending its rejection. Now, Mukesh Singh, one of the four death row convicts in the 2012 Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case, had filed the mercy petition a few days ago. The Delhi Lieutenant Governor had earlier sent the mercy petition to the Home Ministry on Thursday, a day after the Delhi government recommended its rejection. Now, the four convicts were to be hanged on 22nd of January at 7 a.m. in Tihar jail. A Delhi court had earlier issued their death warrants on 7th of January. All right, let's get all the updates. Banchan Mishra is now joining us on the phone line for more details. Banchan, a very good afternoon. So the president has rejected the mercy plea filed by one of the convicts in the Nirbhaya case, Mukesh Singh. And we understand that it was just mere hours after it was forwarded to him by the Union Home Ministry. And, this petition was his final appeal before his execution because the Supreme Court had already dismissed his curative petition. So what can we expect in the case now?
Exactly, Ashwarya. You're right. And as today, President Ramnath Kovind rejected the mercy petition of Mukesh Singh, who is one of the four death row convicts in the 2012 Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case. And it's merely a matter of hours when the Union Home Ministry has recommended, has forwarded the mercy petition to the President House, and now President has rejected. And earlier, you have rightly mentioned that earlier curative petition of the convicts also has been quashed. So now there is no further chances to postpone the death sentences. But the big question is that the January 22, which was the date fixed by the trial court for the execution, will it be there or will there be any extension? This will remain a question. But certainly the mercy petition has been quashed by President for the Mukesh, and we have to see that what about all the convicts, whether they are going to file it or not. But because as a curative petition is already is not there.
All right. So the mercy petition has been rejected. Of course, this was Mukesh Singh's final petition before his execution. Thank you so much, Banchan, for all those updates there. On to some other news now. The Conference of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association India region will conclude in Lucknow today. And delivering the keynote address on enhancing focus of legislators on legislative business, Union Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi mentioned about the parliamentary privilege of MPs and MLAs. Let's take a listen.
विधानसभाओं और संसद में हम बैठते हैं तो हमारी एक सोच होती है कि हम देश के निर्माण और देश के विकास में कितनी हिस्सेदारी भागीदारी कर सकते हैं। और जो हमारा ये फेडरल सिस्टम है, जो हमारा ये संघीय ढांचा है, यही हमें अनेकता में एकता के संकल्प के साथ जोड़ता है, सूत्र के साथ जोड़ता है। संविधान में हमें जो है वो अलग अलग जिम्मेदारियां दी गई हैं, जो संविधान का अनुच्छेद 105 है, उसमें हमें जो हमारे लोकसभा विधानसभा में माननीय सदस्य चुनकर आते हैं, उनके पावर और प्रिविलेज, उनके अधिकार और उनके विशेषाधिकार, इनके बारे में विस्तार से कहा गया है। हमारा मूल कर्तव्य है कानून बनाना। कानून के साथ साथ हमें जन सरोकार से जुड़े हुए सवालों को संसद और विधानसभाओं में उसके प्रति जिम्मेदारी के साथ काम करना, और साथ ही साथ वो तमाम ऐसे प्रश्न जो प्रश्न की सुलझे नहीं है, जिन प्रश्नों के बारे में कि आज भी लोग हमसे एक्सपेक्टेशन करते हैं, अपेक्षा करते हैं कि हम पार्लियामेंट के अंदर, हम असेंबलीज के अंदर उसके समाधान की दिशा में काम करेंगे। हमारा जो आचरण है, हम क्या कर रहे हैं वो इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं, हमारा आचरण जो है वो सीधे लोगों की स्क्रूटनी में है। लोग उसका जो है वो आकलन कर रहे हैं, उसकी स्क्रूटनी कर रहे हैं। कभी कभी लगता है कि साहब हम असेंबली को जो है वो 1 घंटे के लिए, आधे घंटे के लिए हमने एडजर्न करा दिया, पार्लियामेंट को हमने आधे घंटे के लिए एडजर्न करा दिया, तो कोई बहुत बड़ा कमाल हुआ। ऐसा होता नहीं है। आपने वो आधे घंटे का समय जो एडजर्न किया, आप आधे घंटे अपनी बात को मजबूती के साथ रख सकते थे। हो सकता है कि वो उस समय जो है वो कोई त्वरित मुद्दे पर डिस्कशन ना हो रहा हो, लेकिन जो है वो किसी बिल पे भी डिस्कस हो रहा है, तो अगर आप विपक्ष में हैं तो आप सरकार के उन कमियों के प्रति उनको आगाह भी कर सकते हैं, सुझाव भी दे सकते हैं।
An earlier Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla on Thursday inaugurated the 7th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association India Region Conference at the UP Vidhan Sabha in Lucknow. And speaking at the inauguration, Om Birla urged the parliamentarians to be disciplined and dignified while airing their views in Parliament. He said that lawmakers should come out strongly and emotionally while putting forth their viewpoint in the House, but in a dignified manner.
एक ऐसी समितियां होती है जिससे दल से ऊपर उठकर हम पारदर्शी तरीके से अपनी बात संसदीय समिति में कहते हैं, और कानून बनाते समय हमारे जनप्रतिनिधि ज्ञानपूर्ण तरीके से कानून बनते समय अगर लोकतंत्र के मंदिर में वाद विवाद हो, चर्चा हो, संवाद हो, और कानून बनाने के लिए हमारी सक्रिय महत्वपूर्ण भागीदारी होना आवश्यक है।
And addressing the gathering, Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh maintained that everyone wants India to be superpower and all political parties want growth. And he added that lawmakers must know more about India's social and economic indicators and technical and economic terms related to budget.
दुनिया भारत को आर्थिक महाशक्ति बनने की ओर देख रही है। भारत की आर्थिक महाशक्ति बनना, उसकी यात्रा, यहां हम एकत्र सर्वशक्तिमान लोकतंत्र में जो संस्थाएं हैं, उनके हम जो प्रतिनिधिगण हैं, हम उनके पीठासीन अधिकारीगण हैं, हम सबकी सामूहिक इफिशियंसी, निगरानी, नीति निर्धारण, व्यवस्था की कमियों पर चौकसी और क्रिटिकल क्रिएटिव सजेशंस से ही होकर गुजरता है। ये हमारी यानी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं की रहनुमाई करने वालों पर जिम्मेदारी है कि इतिहास ने हमें जो विलक्षण अवसर दिया है, भारत की नई नियति को लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था के माध्यम से बेहतर करने के लिए, वो हम कम समय में कैसे इस काम को पूरा कर पाएंगे।
And on to some other news. In the first satellite launch of 2020, Indian Space Research Organization's communications satellite GSAT-30 was successfully launched on board Ariane 5 rocket from French Guiana in the early hours today. European Space Consortium, Ariane Space's Ariane 5 vehicle injected GSAT-30 into the orbit in a flawless flight lasting about 38 minutes. ISRO said that GSAT-30 is aimed at providing high-quality television, telecommunications and broadcasting services. The 3,357-kilogram GSAT-30 will serve as a replacement to INSAT-4A spacecraft services with enhanced coverage. The satellite derives its heritage from ISRO's earlier INSAT or GSAT satellite series. And Vice President Banchan Mishra has congratulated ISRO for the successful launch of India's latest telecommunications satellite GSAT-30. In a Twitter message, he said that happy to learn that the satellite would provide communication services to Indian mainland and islands through KU band and wide coverage covering Gulf countries, large number of Asian countries and Australia through C-band. And on to some other news now. A tripartite agreement to permanently settle Bru tribals from Mizoram was signed on Thursday. Representatives of Bru tribals, the Mizoram government and the centre signed the agreement in the presence of Union Home Minister Amit Shah in the national capital. And with this, over 30,000 displaced Bru tribals from Mizoram who have been living as refugees in Tripura since 1997 will be permanently settled in Tripura. The tribals have been living in Tripura in different relief camps after they fled Mizoram in 1997 following ethnic clashes between Bru and Mizo communities.
एक के बाद एक उत्तर पूर्व की सारी समस्याओं का समाधान प्रधानमंत्री के नेतृत्व में जिस प्रकार से हो रहा है, इसमें भी उनके ही इनिशिएटिव से एक नए सिरे से वार्ता, नए सिरे से नेगोशिएशंस चालू हुए और उसमें अंत में समाधान ये हुआ कि सारे जो ब्रू रियांग परिवार हैं, जो आज लगभग 30,000 के आसपास होते हैं, वो सभी को त्रिपुरा में ही परमानेंट बसाने की व्यवस्था की जाएगी.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has welcomed the agreement to permanently settle Bru refugees in Tripura, saying that it will greatly help them. In a Twitter message, Prime Minister Modi also said that the Bru refugees will benefit from numerous developmental schemes of the centre. The Prime Minister added that his government is committed to the development of the Northeast and its citizens. Home Minister Amit Shah will meet the leaders of tribal-based parties of northeastern states over the Citizenship Amendment Act in New Delhi today. The parties include the BJP's ally, the Indigenous People's Front of Tripura. In Shillong, Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma will lead a delegation of the Meghalaya Democratic Alliance to meet Amit Shah. Meanwhile, a meet to discuss the 2020 census and the National Population Register is currently underway. Minister of State for Home, Nityanand Rai, is addressing the meet. Now, this meet is being attended by Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla and Chief Secretaries and Census Directors of all the states. Now, this meeting is going to discuss the modalities for the house listing phase of the census and the NPR that will be carried out from 1st of April to 30th of September this year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday took part in the International Conclave on Global Indian Thought organized by IIM Kozhikode through video conference. And speaking at the event, the Prime Minister said that the Indian way of life offers a ray of hope in the world from the mindless hate, violence and terrorism. Citing Mahatma Gandhi's contribution to India's independence, Prime Minister Modi said that people around the world gain strength from Gandhian ideals. He said that compassion, harmony, justice, service and openness are the central pillars of the Indian way of life. Emphasizing that Indian civilization had prospered because it had opened its doors to the world, Prime Minister Modi said that India doesn't need conflict with the brute force, but the power of dialogue.
Ours is the land that has given the world vibrant faiths such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. In this land, the Sufi tradition has flourished. Non-violence is at the core of all of these. In the 20th century, Mahatma Gandhi championed these ideals, and this contributed to India's freedom. At the same time, they gave strength to millions outside. Be it Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. or Nelson Mandela or the freedom struggles in many African nations, they took inspirations from Gandhiji.
In midday news, time for a very short break. We'll be right back with more news. Don't go anywhere.
क्या किसी अन्य देश में भी धार्मिक उत्पीड़न के शिकार हिंदू नागरिकता संशोधन कानून 2019 के दायरे में आएंगे? जी नहीं, ऐसे लोगों को किसी भी अन्य विदेशी नागरिक की तरह ही नागरिकता के लिए आवेदन करना होगा। नागरिकता संशोधन कानून 2019 के तहत उन्हें किसी तरह की प्राथमिकता नहीं मिलेगी।
Welcome back after the break. Russian Deputy Chief of Mission Roman Babushkin has said that all S-400 air defense missile systems will be delivered to India by 2025. He said that the production of S-400 missiles to be delivered to India has already started. Remember, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will visit Russia on 22nd and 23rd of March to attend a meeting of the Russia-India-China trilateral. The S-400, which is an upgraded version of the S-300, had previously only been available to the Russian Defense Forces. It has been in service in Russia since 2007.
We are speaking about, according to the agreement and contracts, we are speaking about 5 units. The production has already started, so both sides are committed to implement that in a timely manner. And according to the schedule, we are expecting the delivery completed by the year 2025.
And Russian envoy Nikolai Kudashev today said that his government did not have any doubt over India's approach to Kashmir. He also underscored that those having doubts over India's approach on Kashmir can go there. On China's attempt to raise the Kashmir issue at the United Nations Security Council, Kudashev said that it was a strictly bilateral matter between India and Pakistan.
Discussions within the United Nations Security Council are concerned. I haven't yet read much, but we've never been in favor of bringing this issue into the United Nations agenda, because in our take this is strictly bilateral matter for India and Pakistan to discuss on the basis of Shimla and Lahore. And thus, in our take, it is not that much to discuss under the aegis of the...
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu on Thursday visited the Cellular jail in Port Blair and paying tribute to Veer Savarkar at his solitary confinement cell. The Vice President said that Veer Savarkar's life is a great inspiration to youngsters, stating that the Cellular jail was a reminder of how hard-won and precious our freedom is. Naidu urged the HRD Ministry and all state governments for organizing student visits to cellular jails and other places that are linked to the freedom struggle. Describing his visit to the jail as a humbling experience, the Vice President expressed confidence that a visit to the Cellular jail would inspire youth to strive for the greater glory of our country. News from the south of the country. In the major development in Andhra Pradesh's politics, actor turned politician Pawan Kalyan's Janasena party has decided to join hands with the Bharatiya Janata Party. The announcement was made after a meeting that took place on 16th of January in Vijayawada between the leaders of both the parties amid unrest in Amravati region owing to YSR Congress party's government's proposal for 3 capitals. Remember, the two outfits have also announced that they will contest the 2024 assembly elections together and they will have a seat-sharing plan well in time. Janasena was formed in March 2014 and after supporting the BJP-TDP coalition initially, Janasena had a fallout with these two parties. Now our special segment on environment and climate change. The last decade has been confirmed as the warmest decade on record by 3 global agencies. According to NASA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the UK Met Office, 2019 year was the second warmest in records with 1.05 degrees Celsius above average since 1850. 2016 remains the warmest year on record when temperatures increased because of El Nino weather phenomenon. Now, the past 5 years were the hottest in the past 170 years, and 2020 is likely to continue this trend. The Arctic continues to be particularly vulnerable to climate change, with the region warming more than 3 times faster than the rest of the world since 1970. Carbon emissions from human activities are the main cause of the sustained temperature rise that is being seen in recent years. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. But before we go, take a look at the weather conditions in major cities of the country. Thanks so much for watching.